Here we go. Welcome to another edition of Recher Reacts. I am your host, Jay Recher. Happy Friday night, everybody. It's kind of weird when I go on before like 11:30 or before 12 o'clock. It feels so weird because I've done some really, really late episodes here on Recher Reacts. But I got to get these topics in and I got to get ready for bed here soon. And I don't want to be up until 2 o'clock in the morning. Certain nights when we have to wait for UFC fights or late NFL games, that's obviously kind of the nature of the beast, but not so much tonight. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I am everywhere at JRetro. Go check me out now and then on the YouTube page as well. Make sure you like and subscribe. I can't tell you how important it is for you guys to get on out there and like and subscribe on that YouTube channel. We're slowly grinding and slowly growing. So, again, I appreciate everybody for all the support. We're going to keep this thing going. It's just going to get bigger and better every single time we go live. So, if you want to chime in on the conversation, always very welcome to do so. Leave your questions, comments, and or concerns like Thaw. Is it Thaw or T Haw 345? But you are always supporting, so I appreciate you very, very much. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to discuss what USF needs to do to defeat Miami tomorrow night. It is going to be a very, very steep mountain to climb, but this isn't the first time we're saying this about this USF team. They went into Tuscaloosa, Alabama a couple weeks ago, and they gave the Crimson Tide a run for their money. So they definitely have the confidence that they can compete with one of the better teams in the country, and they're going to need to bring their A game as they take on the number 8 team in the nation, the Miami Hurricanes. More on that here momentarily. Also, we're going to look back at what happened tonight at Amalie Arena. The Tampa Bay Lightning had a bunch of their season ticket members, and now they like to call them the Bolts for life. And there was a really, really good showing from Bolts Nation out there. There was a lot of fans at Amalie Arena and some really good content too. And I know my guy Greg Wolf was there and Dave Randorf, and it was really cool to be able to sit near the front row to see some of the things that the Lightning are going to do for their fans in the 2024-2025 season. It's so crazy to think that we're in 2024 and it's September 20th. It'll be 2025 before you know it. Also, John Cooper introduced the new captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, and that was Victor Hedman. We knew it was Hetty, but it was the first time that he was ever introduced to the public like that with the jersey, with the C. His assistant captains, Ryan McDonough and Nikita Kucherov, were there too. So we'll get into that as well as a full recap of WWE's Friday Night Smackdown. Another strong showing from WWE a couple of weeks out from the Bad Blood pay-per-view, the standoff at midfield there at Georgia Tech on the football field between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. That package that they did was why WWE is on another level and nobody can ever compete with them. That was like a freaking trailer to a blockbuster movie. Insane. And then lastly, something that I'm going to do every Friday night now, my 5 games to watch this weekend. I have a fight in there too, so I'm going to throw an MMA fight or a boxing fight as well, but it's mostly games. I'm not going to say 5 things. I want to be a little bit more specific. But it's the 5 games to watch this weekend, and it's not going to be Tampa Bay related. So no Bucks, no USF, no Rowdies as well. I know the Rowdies are in action tomorrow night in Charleston, so best of luck to them as well after a thrilling win over Pittsburgh last week. Silly Sal's here, and he says, nah, the U, baby. I know there's a lot of people thinking that the U are going to come away with the victory, and it's good for college football. It really is. It is good for college football when Miami is good. Miami is one of those teams where when they're good, it's usually there's a lot of swag that comes with it. There's a lot of high-end football players that come with it. And we've seen in the past, in the last 40, 50 years, when Miami has a good team, a lot of those guys go on to have pretty damn good careers in the National Football League. So I like when teams like Miami are good. Shout out to our friends here, Tampa Bay, the city of champions. Hey, Jay, hope you're having a great night. I'm enjoying your lightning content. Always appreciate you. I'm excited for this new project too. Yeah, nice. Thank you. Go Bolts. I'm gonna enjoy all these games too. Mostly USF versus Miami game, of course, and my Michigan versus USC. Michigan and USC. This is a game for the Trojans as they travel to the big house and take on the Wolverines. And this could be one of the better defenses that we've seen from Lincoln Riley, and I think that's going to be it's a combination for me when you look at that game. I think Michigan's going to have a really tough time kind of keeping up with Moss and the USC offense. But I also think the defense from USC is better than we've seen from Lincoln Riley's clubs in the past. So that's a bad combination for the Wolverines. I don't like to prey on teams' downfall, but just the harsh reality of it. I mean, you had such an incredible team last year. You're national champions. Nobody can take that away from you. But when you lose as many people as they did, including guys on their coaching staff and the one and only Jim Harbaugh, like that's just going to happen. They're going to have to restock and reload, on the fly here so they can get back into the hunt. This year, it's going to be tough. You saw the real talent kind of disparity between them and Texas when they faced off a couple of weeks ago, and it's not going to get any easier for the Wolverines. But all my Michigan fans out there, including my guy Nick Wise, don't let anybody take away your happiness from your success last year. It was a long time coming. All right, let's start with the USF and Miami game. This, my friends, is what USF has to do in order to be successful against Miami. And it's really these kind of five things. USF wants to beat Miami. This is what you have to do. Number one, Byron Brown has to be effective throwing the football. That rapport with Sean Atkins, it's got to be stronger. Only 13 catches this year through three games. Last year, only 16 catches through 3 games for Atkins. And then the fourth game against Rice, he took off. And he was the number one weapon in the passing game for Byron Brown. You're going to need that same ramp up this year if the Bulls are going to beat the Canes. And Abdur Rahman Yassin, as well as Michael Brown Stevens, they have to be a safety net for Byron Brown. They're going to have to make some tough grabs, whether it's on deep throws or on third downs to keep the chains moving. Those guys have to step up. We can't see what we saw against Alabama. The passing game has to be a factor in this one. Number two, keep the Canes guessing in the running game. And this is how you're going to keep them on the field. You need those long, sustained drives. If you're seeing USF out there just pounding the rock over and over and over again, we know they're going to get to the line quick. But if Miami can continuously be on their heels and wonder where is this rushing attack coming from? Is it coming from Byram? Is it coming from Kelly Joyner or Naquan Ryder, Teron Keith? Wear them down. If they can do that early in this game, it is going to pay dividends in the fourth quarter. Number three, get in Cam Ward's face early and often, whether it's Mac Harris, Jason Vaughn and company. It's got anybody. Get creative. Todd Orlando's done a really good job so far this year of being creative in how he puts pressure on the guy under center. You have to make life difficult for the veteran signal caller after he didn't get sacked one time against Ball State last week. He wants to stay in the pocket. He wants to distribute the ball to a multitude of weapons. Force him off his spot and see how he responds. Special teams is the fourth key for me, whether it's 58-year-old Andrew Stokes punting, true freshman Nico Grammatica kicking off, or John Cannon with the field goal duties. The Bulls have to play mistake-free in this facet of the game. And we saw how that could be a factor in that game against Alabama. The turnover there where Nico was able to come up with the fumble recovery and also the missed field goal. You wonder if it is a longer kick. Do they look to Nico? Because it seems like, from all accounts, he has a little bit of a stronger leg. But Cannon, from 40 and in, he is money. But you got two weapons there in the kicking game. And Stokes, one of the leaders of this team, he's been around, it seems like, since BJ Daniels was the quarterback for the Green and Gold. If there is an opportunity for USF to flip the field, now's the time for Andrew Stokes to probably have one of the better games in his Bulls career. And then finally, win the turnover battle. The Bulls have been very opportunistic this year. They've turned their opponents over 8 times through 3 games where they've only given the back and they've given the ball back only once. This trend must continue Saturday night. And if it does, USF will be right in the game. So those are kind of like 5 keys for USF if they want to make this a game. If they want to beat Miami, those are the 5 things that they have to do. They have to make plays. You can't just be, all right, well, we're just going to go out there, just going to play mistake-free football and stick to the fundamentals. Of course, they have to do that. But guys need to rise to the occasion. You need to see guys on this Bulls team make an impact. Maybe unlike you've ever seen them before. And when you look back at that game, there was one guy that I wanted to highlight when you're looking at this USF team, because Well, there was a couple of them, but I wanted to look back at one person in particular, and I just wanted to see how many stats or how many tackles that he had in that game. And pulling it up right now. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So in this game, when I saw Deshaun Rucker have the game that he had against Alabama, 10 solo tackles. I don't think anybody going into that game and against Alabama thought that Deshaun Rucker would be the leading tackler for the Bulls. But that kid played his ass off. He rose his level because of the team that USF was playing. I know you should be even kill, you should play the same, but he really took his game to the next level against the Crimson Tide. You're going to need a handful of guys to do that same thing against Miami tomorrow night if the Bulls are going to be successful. I think they have it in them. I've been very impressed with USF so far. So out of those 5 things that they have to do, you could say 6, but just make plays, man. That building's going to be rocking. Ray J is going to be as loud as it's been probably since I've moved here. I've been here about 20 years. I've been to a lot of USF games, and I cannot wait for tomorrow night. I have had more people in the last 48 hours tell me that they are planning their Saturday around the game between USF and Miami, and that makes you feel good. Kudos to Michael Kelly, Alex Golish, and everybody involved with the USF football team and USF athletics. But it's just really cool to hear a bunch of my friends say, yeah, I got to do this in the morning, this in the afternoon, but I got to make sure that I'm home by 7 o'clock because I don't want to miss that USF game. Not that Miami game, that USF game. The times they are changing for the better when it comes to football here in the Tampa Bay area, and it'll be even better if USF comes out on top on Saturday night. All right, next thing I want to talk about is what happened at Amalie Arena tonight. A really, really cool thing that the Lightning had for their fans, where a lot of season ticket holders, and it's now called Bolts for Life, were part of what they call a Lightning launch, and it started at 6:30. But when I got there, there was people already out there on the stage talking to the fans. Greg Wolf, I think, was there, and I saw Chief Phyllis Vizito and Dave Mishkin, and I was walking in as they walked out, so I missed them. But that was kind of like a little bit of a preamble to what was going on. But it was hosted by our guy Dave Randorf from Bally Sports, and just a really, really cool thing to be a part of. It was only about an hour long. It was short and sweet and right to the point. And we heard from Steve Griggs, one of the big time executives of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he spoke about some of the new things that are going to be going on at Amalie Arena, including how the prices for food and beverages are going to stay the same. They're going to be frozen. So that is really cool with prices being jacked up all around the country at sporting events. That's not happening at Amalie Arena. Renovations inside, really cool. You're going to love it. Renovations outside. And I wanted to share it with you guys because I took the video. And this is one of the things that is going to be happening now outside of Amalie Arena. Check this thing out.
Capabilities. So when you're coming to the games, that's actually what you're going to be able to see. So it's going to be really, really cool. The front of the building is going to have LED as well. So the entire front of the building will have LED. So it'll all be part of the plaza there where if you look at the monitor there, you'll be able to see how it's changed over the LED to really create some excitement in the plaza.
So you see that there. The new digital signage is going to be nuts. And you saw with the glove with the hand, that is awesome. If you want to get a little bit of a better look, head on over to all of my social media platforms at Recher. I got a more of a kind of a close-up video of it. But the new digital signage, if you have ever walked up into Thunder Alley there, right in front of Amalie Arena, and you see usually they have the big sign, and it was like an Apple sign where you saw like somebody taking a picture. There was one where my hand was actually in there taking a photo of somebody, but now that's going to be a big digital screen on the outside. And from what Steve Griggs alerted to us, that is going to be the biggest marquee in the state of Florida. That is awesome. I cannot wait. That is so cool. And just another reason why the Tampa Bay Lightning are the best organization in all of sports. Gabby Shirley did a great job. She was hosting some of the new faces there, Jake Gensel and JJ Moser, and also an old but a new face in Ryan McDonough. And I think you could argue that the loudest ovation of the night came from Ryan McDonough. And we saw Hetty, we saw Cooch, more on them in a second. We saw John Cooper, but Ryan McDonough back in front of the faithful at Amalie Arena got the biggest ovation. I thought that was really, really cool to see. They missed Mac Truck, and I know Bolts Nation, you did too. So nice little chat there. And then Dave Randolph calls up John Cooper, and he strides to the stage to a rousing ovation from the fans. The best coach in the NHL, as voted recently, and he announces, or he introduces rather, the 11th captain in the history of the Tampa Bay Lightning franchise, one Victor Hedman. And this is the first time that he's ever been introduced as the captain, wearing the jersey with the C on his jersey. Uh, it was such a cool moment to be a part of. And again, if you missed it, I have that video up as well on my social media at Recher. And then Hetty introduces his assistant captains, Nikita Kucherov and Ryan McDonough. And it was just a really nice event to be at, an hour long, in and out. I wanted to mention something else too. There were two jersey, um, two new lapels. Oh my gosh, two New Jersey. What, I can't think of the word. I'm losing my mind here. Patches. There you go, new patches on the jerseys this year, Advent Health and the Tampa YMCA. And the Lightning have said that they are going to give back over $1 million this year to nonprofits in the Bay Area. How awesome is that? And to model those new jerseys was Dave Andrewchuk and Vinny LeCavalier, two former Lightning captains. So really great to see those guys. Got a chance to see Dave Andrewchuk at the end and say hi to him. So the Lightning just do it well. And in situations like that, where things like that could get a little long and get a little wordy, it was 1 hour, man. Not even. It started at 6:30. It ended at like 7:29. Boom. Everything got rolling. The fans got an opportunity to see the new Lightning symbol at center ice, which has the names of the members that are Bolts for Life. Just top notch. Nobody's ever done anything like this before. So make sure you're following me, because I'm going to do my best to share as much Lightning content as humanly possible, and follow the team as well at TB Lightning. At Jay Recher, you see it there at the bottom of the screen right here. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I am everywhere. I always want to hear from you. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns there at the bottom of the screen, wherever you're watching, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. I want to hear from you on this Friday night. John, don't call me Gary Cooper. Big Mac, you got that right. Good to see Ryan McDonough in the building. And like and subscribe on YouTube. If you've never checked me out on YouTube before, just look it up. Jay Recher, JayRecher. Hit that subscribe button, because I'm trying to grow this thing as big as humanly possible. All right, let's get to the WWE Friday Night Smackdown recap. And it starts there with the United States Championship match between L.A. Knight and Andrade. I always want to say Andrade, El Idolo. What a great match between these guys. LA Knight, there was a couple of, missteps from him, but still a solid match all the way around. And I'm just so happy that Andrade's back in WWE and able to put on matches like he's been doing with LA Knight and with Carmelo Hayes. More on him in a second. But for all the talk about AEW being the better in-ring product, it's not. This just shows you it's not just about the in-ring product. It's about the storytelling. And Andrade comes up a little bit short here, but he looked phenomenal in the ring. He has looked really good since he's come back. And we hear the news today that Miro, formerly Rusev of the WWE, has requested his release from the AEW. I bet you he can't get back to WWE fast enough. Please, Triple H and everybody, get him back home. He's such a phenomenal athlete. He's funny as hell. He's a heel. He's a face. He's a very versatile guy. I remember taking the tank out at WrestleMania against John Cena. What a phenomenal entrance that was. We need Rusev Day back in the WWE. So that match ends, and then we see a little bit later on Andrade's walking backstage, and who confronts him but Carmelo Hayes, and he's talking smack. And they're gonna fight again next week. I love it. They haven't really said that it's a best of 7 or a best of 9, but they're gonna fight one more time next week. And I think Andrade's up 3-2. So match 6 next week on SmackDown. I would love to see Carmelo win and then have them like clear the deck and say, okay, you wrestled 6 times, 3 apiece. Now we're going to go best of 7 for the rest of the year. You're going to wrestle on SmackDown. You're going to wrestle at Bad Blood. You're going to wrestle at Survivor Series. Hell, even throw a match on Monday Night Raw. Mix it up a little bit and have it end at Royal Rumble. Have it end at Royal Rumble, and the winner gets a shot at the U.S. title or something like. A winner gets number 30 in the Royal Rumble match. That would be really, really cool. Next up, and I want to just kind of stay strictly on the in-ring product, but ironically enough, this wasn't in the ring. This video package that they did at Georgia Tech Stadium with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes meeting at the middle of the field. This is why nobody will ever compete with the WWE, because the in-ring product is fantastic. But when they do things like this, it's incomparable. And the verbiage, the back and forth between these two guys, with Roman Reigns talking about, this is my stadium, this is my city, what have you done for this city? And Rhodes reminds him that, hey, my family, my generations of my family have bled in this city at the Omni down the block. The back and forth, Roman saying that the bloodline's taken everything from him, Jimmy Uso, the wise man, the Ulafala. And then Cody just kind of fights back. He says, I told you this from the beginning. You're going to end up as a chief without a tribe. And I thought that this was electric. I thought there was animosity. I thought there was realism. And it achieved everything that WWE wanted it to achieve. It made both guys look strong. I thought, in some ways, I thought Cody looked stronger than Roman in this one. And at times, I really think that people are worried if Roman's going to overshadow Cody. And I saw a conversation, I think it was Busted Open, where the guys were wondering if Cody is going to come out being a heel from this, or he's going to look bad, or people are going to boo him because they want Roman back. And there's always going to be kind of a comparison between the two. But if you book Cody strong, I don't think you have to worry about that, because eventually he's going to kind of go off and do his own thing. And this storyline is kind of naturally split. And then eventually it'll come back, because Survivor Series, you have to think that Cody and Roman are probably not going to be involved. Roman, you would think, would be involved with Solo and the whole crew. And you would think that The Rock would be back. But right now, the way that they're doing this with these two guys, having them team up at Bad Blood, this is on point. And I love that Cody, right at the end, Cody steps in Roman's way, and Roman says, you're in my way. And then he steps out of the way and he goes, you're in my way in life. Just so subtle, so simple. And he's right. I mean, Roman wants to be the number one guy. He wants to be the quote unquote big dog. But not right now. Cody's the man. Cody finished the story, and I think he's doing a good job. People are going to crap all over Cody. Oh, this sucks. I think he's done a really good job, and it's only going to continue to get better. Next up, inside the ring, Giovanni Vinci and Apollo Crews. And this is going to be one of those weird kind of gimmicks where Vinci, he has all these, these big time vignettes for a couple weeks, and then he loses like he did last week against Apollo Crews in 10 seconds. And then this one, he gets some good offense in, and then he gets a roll up again. I like these, though, because you build up some animosity. You get people to kind of laugh at him, dislike him, and then you kind of build up and you kind of see the blood boiling, and then boom, you see what he's made of. But you got to make the most of these opportunities. Some people don't like it. Some people don't get it. This is a certain way to build a heel. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. We'll just see how it goes from here. He has to take it the right way, and he has to make the most of these opportunities. I think he will. All right, next up, it was Kevin Owens coming out and speaking to the WWE Universe. He was asked backstage by Byron Saxton once, and then 10 minutes later twice, about Cody Rhodes teaming up with Roman Reigns. The first time he just ignored him and walked away. The second time he's like, if I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it out there. And right before he's about to express how he feels, here comes the bloodline. Without Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, Jacob Fatu, and they attack him. Who comes out to save him? I thought it was going to be possibly Randy Orton, maybe Cody Rhodes. It was DIY with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. They make the save, and they eventually book a 6-man tag match to main event the evening. I have always been a fan of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And if you are not familiar with their work and familiar with their feud that they had in NXT, I suggest you find a way to go look at it, because all the matches that they had an empty arena match. They were tag team champions. The way that they won the belt with simultaneous submission moves, the way that Tommaso turned on Johnny Gargano at the end of one of the NXT takeovers, that was one of the best storylines in the history of NXT. But they are not getting the reaction from the Raw or SmackDown crowd. And I feel bad for them, because they are phenomenal wrestlers. They are where they're supposed to be. And there is a storyline, there is an attachment, there is a relationship there prior with Kevin Owens, but there's just no pop when they come out. They're not like, "Oh, DIY." It's like, "DIY? Why is it them?" And they just need to continue building these guys. I don't know if they're the smart choice for guys to come in and make the save in situations like that. I think they need some vignettes. They need some more production when it's outside of the ring. The things that they were doing on social media with them, with Randy Orton, I think that's good. That's a start, but they got to continue to build on that, because again, it's all about the reaction. People don't cheer him until they like do some moves and they're in there for a little bit. They certainly don't hate them. They're kind of ambivalent, and that's probably the worst thing that you can have from a wrestling crowd. The tornado tag match between Nia Jax and Miss Money in the Bank Tiffany Stratton against Naomi against Bailey. Smart move by the WWE to make this a tornado tag earlier today, because you want to get to a situation where everybody's in the ring. People could just kind of, if they're worried about tagging out or not, they could just not tag in. Like, there's just, it could have muddied the match a little bit. So I like that they did this. We knew there was going to be some kind of wonky ending to it, and there was. Bailey and Naomi roll up Nia Jax for the double pin win. The thing that really stunk about this one was at the end is that Naomi's feet were clearly under the ropes. And, there was no rope break there. And it kind of took a little bit of the sting out of it. And you knew eventually this was going to either lead to a three-way dance with those two ladies and Nia Jax, or next week, Naomi taking on Bailey, with the winner taking on Nia Jax at Bad Blood. And the latter is what we got. But it's just the ending was a great thought, but the execution was just a little bit lacking. And then finally, the main event of the match, or the main event of the night, Kevin Owens and DIY against the Bloodline. And before DIY comes out, cameras go backstage. The Bloodline's beating the crap out of DIY. Kevin Owens starts taking on these guys themselves. And who comes out for the save but the Street Profits? And there you go. There's the difference between the Street Profits and DIY. The Street Profits get a pop when they come out. People are excited to see Montez Ford. They're excited to see Angelo Dawkins. There's just a different relationship there with the WWE Universe, and it's just not there quite yet for DIY. So a really good match. Montez Ford looks like $1,000,000 once again. Back and forth, back and forth. Here comes DIY to help a little bit later on, and then here comes Cody at the end. And the night ends with Cody in the ring, kind of eyeing down the Bloodline as they scurry up the ramp. And here's Kevin Owens with a chair. And people were wondering, is it going to happen? They're teasing this once again. Kevin Owens is clearly not happy with this union with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. He feels like, hey, I've been on the straight and narrow here, and now everybody's kind of going back on their word. What the hell kind of universe am I living in right now? But he drops the chair, hugs Cody Rhodes almost begrudgingly, and maintain the babyface KO for now. So a good night on Friday Night Smackdown. Cannot wait to see how they develop those storylines on Friday night as well as Monday Night Raw Monday, as we inch closer and closer to Bad Blood. Okay, before the end of the show here, I want to give you my 5 games of the weekend. All right, my 5 games to watch this weekend. I'm going to start with number 5. The Indiana Fever take on the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark's first ever WNBA playoff game. I know you'll be locked into football more. I know you'll be locked into football mode more than likely, but if you have a chance, pop on over to ABC at some point to see how this one's going. Starts at 3:00. Number 4, Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua for the IBF heavyweight championship of the world. This should be a good one as two massive Brits go toe to toe with the title on the line. The main event probably get underway around 10:30 UK time, so 5:30 p.m. over here. Number 3, speaking of heavyweight matchups, Sunday, 11:30 a.m., a battle between the two best teams in the Premier League as Arsenal travels to the Etihad to take on Manchester City. Is this the year the Gunners finally overtake City at the top of the table, or will Pep Guardiola's men continue to build on one of the most iconic runs that we have ever seen in the Prem? Number 2, number 6 Tennessee at number 15 Oklahoma. I know a lot of people think that Josh Heupel is going to go head back home, back to Norman, and blow out the Sooners, primarily because of the excellence of Vols quarterback Nico Iamaliava. But I just don't know, man. I think this is going to be closer than most people think. No starting tackle, Lance Hurd. No starting left tackle for Tennessee. Lance Hurd, he's out. Brent Venables relishing this challenge. And don't forget, Oklahoma freshman Taylor Tatum, he's got a chance to be special. That's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you can keep that dynamic offense led by Nico off the field. So if you can keep that under control and run the football, I think Oklahoma has a chance. I'm still going with Tennessee in this one, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout like a lot of people are saying. And then number 1, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Baltimore staring down the barrel of an 0-2 start after losing that game to the Chiefs on opening night, and then a heartbreaking loss to the Raiders at home. Dallas 1-1 after getting taken to the woodshed by the New Orleans Saints last week. All eyes on this one as the reigning MVP takes on the boys in Big D. So those are my 5 games to watch this weekend. The Indiana Fever against the Connecticut Sun, Daniel Dubois against Anthony Joshua, Man City and Arsenal, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and then Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I want to hear from you guys when it comes to my 5 games of the weekend. My 5 games to watch this weekend. Who do you think wins those 5 matchups? I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say on social media. Let me know. 5 games to watch this weekend. Jay's 5 games to watch this weekend. Let me know who you think is going to come out on top of those 5. All right, follow me on all social media platforms at Jay Recher. And look at Neil Clitheroe popping in late on Facebook. Come on, you Gunners. You better hope, buddy. You better hope, because this is the time. Arsenal's getting deeper, going out and getting Raheem Sterling at the transfer window. Healthier, right? I think overall, when you're looking at that team, they're much deeper than the last couple of years. And you wonder the motivation for teams like Man City. Ilkay Gundogan is back. You have Kevin De Bruyne, of course, the greatest goal scorer, probably as a number 9 in the world right now with Erling Haaland. Ederson's still there. Ruben Diaz on the back line there with John Stones and Akanji and Ake and Gavardiol. And just so many good players on Man City. Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Doku, Savinho. Like they're just it's a squad. These are 2 deep teams. Obviously, Arteta coming from Man City, Pep Guardiola's former assistant. He's done yeoman's work over there at Arsenal, and much better as far as like getting them to the top of the table. And you remember there was people questioning whether he was going to be the guy. And Neil and Scott, you guys are both tuned in. You know the deal. Arsenal has been much better. A bold move getting rid of Ramsdale, David Raya being the goaltender, but I really like what they got cooking right now. When you have Saliba and Gabriel as your center backs, Ben White on one side. Let's see what happens with the left back position. I think there's a multitude of ways that they can go there. But you have so many good midfielders with Odegaard and Partey and Jorginho and Declan Rice, and then the option of bringing Raheem Sterling in. I think it makes a lot of sense. Whether it's a backup, he's got good pace coming off the bench to add on that left side with Martinelli and Trossard. You have one of the best right backs in the world in Bukayo Saka. Kai Havertz has been playing really well, and Gabriel Jesus would love to score against his former team as well. Missing your skipper is a problem, buddy, but we'll see. Sometimes you got to be able to do it with those guys missing. A big, big loss for Arsenal with Martin Odegaard not being in the matchup. All right, guys. Again, follow me on all social media platforms right here. Twitter Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. I am everywhere. I love you all. A huge turnout tonight on social media. Head on over to my YouTube page, like and subscribe. Every single like and subscription and follow and share helps out tremendously. So I appreciate everybody for helping out. Tomorrow night, Recher Reacts. We're going to be talking about USF in Miami. Wow, cannot wait for that one. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Happy Friday night. Look at that. We're done before midnight. What the hell has gotten into me? Good stuff. I appreciate everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on Recher Reacts. Peace out.